everybody, welcome back to Squires Duty. I'm Alex, and today we are on Night's Watch. What am I going to go through? Well, I'm going to go through some of the ubiquitous Imperial Knight chassis that you are going to see pretty much in every single list. There's no particular order to these, but I do think that there are some real standout datasheets in this book. Like, some of them, of course, you're not going to see, but some of them stand quite literally heads and shoulders above everything else in this book. So, which of these are you going to see? We're going to go through some of the abilities, some of their rules, what makes them worth taking, and why are they going to be everywhere. And maybe I'll get into some of the weaknesses that I see in these data sheets, some of the ways that you could play around them. So, without further ado, let's move on to probably one of the best data sheets in the game, and that's Kanis Rex. Like, you've surely seen him out and about. He is an offensive powerhouse. And that comes realistically from a couple of key things on his data sheet. Possibly the first of these is that he is a weapon skill and ballistic skill 2+ knight. Combined with the Noble Lance reroll a hit wound, this makes him so reliable in terms of getting all of this efficient damage through. And speaking of damage, he just has it coming in spades. The Las Cutter, strength 14, AP 3, 4 damage, is good into so many targets. Like, a light vehicle stands no chance. A heavy vehicle will take a huge chunk from it. And with the blast keyword, it's going to chew through things like possessed chassis or elite infantry. Now, if that was the only thing on his datasheet, we'd still be saying he's quite good. But there's a couple extra things here that really make him stand out. The first of these, and this comes down to the fact that all of these have sustained hits 1 and critical hits on a 5+. So suddenly you're getting, on average, more hits than you started with. And that's massive when you consider just how good he is, both at range and, of course, he's good in melee. His melee, which hits on a 2 as of dated, also has extra attacks relative to the equivalent weapon on the rest of the Questorish chassis. So this means that he can go in with his 5, damage 9, strength 20 attacks, or the one you'll see a lot of the time is 10 attacks at 10-2-3, hitting on 2s. With this has then, of course, probably 11 or 12 hits out of it. It's wild. It's going to go through anything, realistically a Rhino or smaller, or notably for the meta at the moment, an Armiger type chassis. Now, the other thing that Kanis offers you is stratagem support. Your CP economy is just going to be easier. He has a free stratagem on his datasheet, which is huge. The fight on death on him in Noble Lance is 2 CP. Not having to spend that is huge, massive. Or just, I don't know if I need to rotate. You've got the CP spare for it, if he's out in the open. And something that also is big is here for shooting matches is Sir Hector. Now, whilst probably not the biggest part of his datasheet, it is something to remember that when Kanis Rex is destroyed, you can disembark Sir Hector out, and critically, do not count as having destroyed Kanis. Now, unfortunately, you do know that the turn after you have Kanis lose his last wound, your opponent is drawing Assassinate Bring It Down for 11 points plus, but that's beside the point. In that shooting matchup, they don't necessarily get that kill, something like Purge, without an extra set of activations into a lone op. For if he gets picked out at range with guns, it's just something to keep safe. He can then run around go hold the backfield, screen, and score objective cards. But Kanis has probably a major weakness, and it's something that's common across all of the Questoris type chassis, and that is there are no defensive buffs on here. He has no invuln in melee. There are no stratagem support. There's no detachment support for really helping his survivability outside of a rotate ion shields, which is shooting only. And this comes to probably the crux of one of the ways that you can deal with Kanis is just going and punching him. Yes, it's scary. Yeah, it's a problem, but with the toughness change, he's not that crazy to shift off of the table, which is why a lot of people lead him as the second wave, as the kind of the heroic intervention from behind the wall, the charge once you have put something else out to bring the opponent into range. Now, let's move on to something that might go out first, or that really benefits into a big chonky boy meta, and that is the Knight Atropos datasheet. Now, the Atropos is equipped with the same weapons as Kanis. You've got the Las Cutter, and this is just a good weapon. It is also sustained on the Atropos, but does not have critical 5s. Instead, the Atropos has a couple of abilities here that really make it shine when taking on other big targets. The Macro Extermination Protocols rule in his datasheet grants +1 to hit against vehicles or monsters, and +1 to wound if that's Titanic or Towering. Now, in any game, this guy's probably going after those things. The +1 to hit brings it to that 2+ with a reroll from the army, so that's great. Also, the Bondsman ability just goes on to so many of your armigers. They all want this. The ability to, when you target a Titanic or Towering model, to reroll the hits and wounds is huge when big knights, big things are just in the meta. It's like, just imagine that Hellverin. So many shots, getting over that strength breakpoint with all these rerolls. The melter gun that you can just pretty much guarantee 2 hits, 2 wounds from. Really critical. And then if someone is, say, like a fly target, the Tesseract Vault that we've seen popping up here and there, just go nuts with it. Now, this good output extends into the melee capability of this knight. The Las Cutter in melee has more attacks than usual. It is 6 attacks with that same 14-3-4 sustained hits profile, or 12 at the 7-1-2 sweep. Again, really nice, just kind of covers some of the difficulties that come with a big knight army where we maybe don't have the number of attacks. Sometimes that's an issue, not so much with this knight. Now, one of the other critical things is that the Cerastus Knights have a 5+ invuln all the time. You're not as concerned about being hit in melee, you have that defensive ability, and you're also 12-inch move. Might not sound like much, but that covers the first pivot that you have to do. It just adds up really quickly. But the downside, I think, of the Knight Atropos is that there is a ranged inconsistency here. You're rolling d6 or 2d6 shots, and you can just get stung when you need it the most. But let's go on to a datasheet that you'll see a lot that doesn't have to worry about consistency with ranged guns, and that is the humble little Hellverin. Now, the Hellverin here covers a key part of the army. The 48-inch range means you can cover the firing angles. It's good quality shots, 8 shots at 913. It's really good, and they take the Squires duty stratagem so well. That strength 9 to strength 10 breakpoint, the AP1 to AP2, is massive. Like, I can't explain just how often you're going to benefit from that, particularly when you can combine all of the knights together. Like, you get You get it if you have that singular large target like last time, say, shooting a Tesseract Bolt. These Hellverins will absolutely ruin it with a combination of the Squire's Duty and the one of two or two of them that gain the Atropos' Bondsman ability. One of the things that they also do is the datasheet ability will come up quite often. Having anti-fly 2+, when you are either controlling an objective or wholly in your deployment zone, that's a really useful ability. Blood Angels flying around at the moment, all of them fly. Something like Magnus or Mortarion, the Demon Prince, can't really hang out, and it overcomes that lower relative strength of the gun. Something like, so many of these Xenos kind of armies have fly units. You will find a way to use it, and on top of that, the Hellverin is the cheapest knight chassis in the book. So you are going to get it's 2.5 or so of these for a normal small to a storage knight. So really useful to be able to spread out, to be able to split your activations, to be able to cover areas of the board and be able to put them out without costing yourself an entire night. But this is because they have no melee. Just ignore it. You might get a guardsman sometimes. But the other thing is that because it's only an armature chassis, it is relatively fragile. We have seen so many kind of cases now that the extra wounds don't necessarily now make up for that lack of toughness. So many weapons hit that breakpoint, but that's okay. You know that you can play around it. Now, looking into, say, the damage of the knights or putting something out onto the objective, here is something that you find in quite a lot of knights lists. I've talked about it before, but that is the Sisters chassis. The Sister of Battle Immolator with 10 Battle Sisters. This offers so much to a knight army. You can take either the one Immolator or even the two with the single squad of Sisters because it splits them up. This gives you great objective play. Those Sisters are OC2. The Immolator is tougher than a Hell Armature chassis. But probably the key reason for that Immolator is that you can tag anything with its guns and get ignores cover. That's really useful when a lot of the knight's weaponry can lack in armor pen characteristic. Your Hellverins, your battle cannons are AP1. A bit of cover, an armor of contempt, and suddenly you've not got the AP to get through even a Space Marine. So, say you're shooting your dispersed lascutters into a Space Marine unit. That an AOC cover, you're not doing anything. So ignores cover, functionally +1 AP where you need it. On a tough vehicle, it's really useful. I like this a lot, and I will be using it in my lists. So, let's go into some closing remarks generally about knights and how I'm thinking about them. We have really good close range damage in the book, be that the 24 inches of the lascutters or just the good melee punching ability. We are efficient. All our data sheets we have a reroll hit wound, or a lot of them will be hitting on 2s a lot of the time. But what we do have to be careful of here is that there aren't too many activations. You do have to plan your turn out right to get the most out of these. What has helped us again is that this new mission pack has overall less actions, and your big knights can action and shoot if you don't need to charge. This just means you're not so concerned about having all these extra units. You can go back to adding that damage and the OC control that you need. Now, arguably our biggest weakness is high pressure melee. I think you are susceptible. A lot of your defensive ability is at ranged, and 10 guardsmen and a dream is my point here. Most knight chassis, all the way up to and including something like the Lancer, have a problem with being tagged with 10 guardsmen. Arguably, only Kanis with the critical hits 5, the on his sweep, can comfortably clear 10 guardsmen if they tag you with the extra save, so the 4-up armor save. That is something to be aware of, because one of the major deficiencies of this book is that we do not have a fallback and do anything, and because of that low activation count, losing a turn of movement, being move blocked, is really a problem. But let me know what you think. What would you like me to cover next on Squire's Duty? If you are enjoying the content, please do like, comment, subscribe, join our Discord, become a member if you are able to. It helps us out massively to start playing on that yacht in Monaco. I've been Alex, this has been Squire's Duty, and I'll see you next time.